Hello and welcome to our live all about Cricut cards. I just thought I would do this because the holidays are coming up. If you are going to make your own holiday cards, now's probably the time to get started on them, depending on how intricate they are. Plus, I really love making Cricut cards. So I made one just before going live, kind of checking my cut settings here, just to see how good they are. And I'm not sure actually if it made it the right size. It did not, but so I just made like a happy holidays card just right before we went live, and the cut settings look great. So I would love to hear what questions you have about making Cricut cards. So obviously, like, I was making some of the pre-made cards, but I have made cards with and without making the pre-made cards. The insert cards or cutaway cards or whichever ones you want to use, they're just really easy to make with the card mat. So today I pulled out the Joy Extra just because it's small enough to sort of get in the frame of my video. You can make cards, the cards I'm talking about, with any Cricut machine. So I have the Joy Extra here. The Joy Extra card mat looks something like this. If you have just the regular Cricut Joy, you'll have a little bit of a smaller mat for insert cards. And then if you have an Explorer Maker, you'll have a bigger card mat that you can purchase, and it can cut 4 cards at once. So just depending on basically the type of card that you want to make. Obviously, if you're going to cut like your own cards, then you would just use a regular Cricut mat. You don't even need to worry about this card mat. You can cut it all in like one piece. So happy that so many of you are joining me from all over. I feel like that we have people from all over in the comment section, which is amazing. All right. So somebody said, any other blokes in here, or should I just sit quietly and pretend I don't exist? You do not have to sit quietly and pretend you don't exist. So any questions are fair game. Okay, so let me know if you struggle with making cards. I would love to hear from you. I feel like a lot of people struggle with the whole card making process. Someone just bought a Joy and have not used it yet. Laura, did you buy the Joy Extra or just the regular Joy? They're both good machines. I like the Joy Extra because I can do print and cut, but the Joy Extra has been my favorite machine ever since they came out with it, honestly. All right, so I have got tons of examples over here. So what I do, I just get on a card making kick, and I keep them all, like, literally it's a box. So I keep them all in a box, and then when I need them, I have cards ready and I can pull them out. So I was going to dig down in here. So I make cards for all occasions. But I do have a video that I made this with just regular cardstock. So you don't necessarily have to purchase, Cricut sells the card packs that look like this for insert cards, cutaway cards. So you can purchase the packs and it's pre-made cards and you just cut like the design, but you can also cut the entire card out of cardstock and cut the inside. So you can do it either way you would like to do it. They developed the card mat and the insert cards with the Cricut Joy because the Cricut Joy has such a small cutting area, and they wanted people to be able to make cards with it. And then it just became so popular. So there's tons of things you can add. So insert cards, if you are not familiar, what will happen is, and I'll use this one as an example, your Cricut machine will draw and or cut on the front of the card, and then you put an insert behind it, and all the insert is literally a piece of paper, and then it cuts corner slits, and you just put that insert into those corner slits, and you have a completed card. So the first question was having trouble with insert cards on the Joy. Corner slits are never quite where they should be. So I was just sitting here experimenting, and it did just make one the wrong way. The best way, and I'll open up Cricut Design Space here. The best way is to find the cards that are exactly sized for the cards you have. So, example, this box of cards it says right on it that it's an R40, and it gives you the dimensions. The foolproof way is to find cards that are designed for this size. So I was experimenting with a smaller card, and I told in Cricut Design Space, I told it to resize it to the larger card size, but it didn't exactly do a great job. I can save this card. I can cut my insert down, but that's a pain. So let me open up here, Cricut Design Space. So I was sitting here looking at the Cricut Design Space, share. Okay, so I was sitting here just experimenting with the different search features and what they look like right now. So most of the time I go to projects, or on the home screen, I was already searching here. On the home screen, I will type card or some Christmas card. So let's just say Christmas card. So then you have projects, images, which is like you can see the cutaway card here. So you can go with projects or images. So let's say that, I mean, this card is cute. So if I click it, I get more like this. I'm looking to see, I was doing this with projects earlier. Let's just add this maybe. So if I add that one to the canvas, what I would like for them to do is to be able to sort by basically and ended up adding it twice. I would like to be able to sort by the card size, because if I have this one and I go to click make, I'm not going to save it, and I say I'm cutting on the card mat, it's going to tell me that this is designed for an R20 card. And like I said, I have R40 for my example. I have several cards here, but let's say I have an R40. What you should be able to do is to change this right in Cricut Design Space to R40. But what's happening is it's not increasing the size. What's supposed to happen is it's supposed to increase the size to the card size, and that is not happening. So I do feel like it's an error on their part. So let's go to the search instead. And let's see what happens if we search R40, perhaps. Is R right? So now if I search R40, I'm getting tons of projects. Of course, I wanted to do holiday themed, and I'm going to have to search. Let's see if I do R40 Christmas. See if that works. Let's go to images. Not working on images. Christmas card. Okay, so it's pulling up card designs. Not all of these are insert card designs, though. So there we go. Let's try that one. I don't really like that one, though. Let's try another one. So I just feel like there needs to be, I need more filtering capabilities over here. Like I can filter by, let's try material. No. I feel like we need a better way to sort these cards, because if I can find, let's try this one. Add to canvas. Go to my canvas. That's a whole card. Okay, so let's delete this. Delete this. What we can do, so when they pull up like this and I want to use the insert card, what I usually do is remove all the other elements, if that makes sense. And the other thing you don't want to do with these cards is to resize it at all. I feel like the resizing is where I always get into trouble. So I do not resize them at all. Okay, so I'm trying to close that whole thing. Okay. So I feel like we could alter this one. But I just feel like the oh, someone's wife's birthday tomorrow. Finally unboxed the Explorer 4 and made her a card. It took 3 attempts. Yes, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah. Like you have to get them. I feel like right now, I mean, it used to resize them, but right now what I'm seeing is I'm going to have to find exactly a card that is an R40 that is maybe if I do R40 insert card, that's better ish. They're not, again, I wanted Christmas. Let's go to projects maybe. Might just have to make a birthday card since the search function is not great. Let's do Cricut as the creator. We could do a Halloween card. Okay, so let's see if this one uses actual. Okay, this is what I was looking for. I feel like the problem is there's so many user created cards and those are not resizing correctly. So if you choose the Cricut made cards, let's make a Halloween card. What should happen when I say that I have R40 cards, and I actually, yeah, I mean, yeah, let's keep going with that example. I think I have colors that'll look okay with Halloween. So I have R40 cards. That's what it says on the outside of my Cricut box. And let's just go to make it. And then it pulls up an R20 card. We'll go to R40 and then it's not going to be right. You all. Seriously, I just feel like their new update is not giving me what I need. I want an R40 card. Let's try customize. 4.5 by 6.37. That should be right. So make. Don't save. Finally, an R40 card. So now we're going to try to make this one. We're going to make this Halloween card. Halloween card. Navy blue. Okay, we'll just go with navy blue. Why not? Okay. The other thing, when you're picking your material, that's the other thing I hear people saying is like, it didn't cut through the right amount. If I'm using insert cards, it says insert cards on the box I'm using from Cricut, I would choose this one. And I need to move my star wheels. If your cards say cutaway cards, be sure that you go over here and you search cutaway and you click the cutaway card setting. Like extremely important to pick the right one. And then I'll make myself here big again. All right, so we are going to hope this works. Okay, pull the chat back up. All right, so for the joy, I move my wheels all the way to the right. For like the Explorer and Maker, I think it says put them in the center, but it will show you on the screen what to do with those. And we're switching directions and making a Halloween card. All right, so I'm going to make navy blue. Whatever card match you have, you basically slip the back of the card into the back of the card mat and make sure it's like all the way up, all the way over. And that way the slits, again, are in the right spot. And then you do want to make sure it's down really well on this mat. And then I'm going to add it. And yes, so the latest updates, so someone said the constant updates drive me crazy. The latest update is literally, it is driving me crazy. Okay, so it is going to ask for a pen. And I'm going to do this metallic blue color because I think that will look really good. All right, so I'm going to do go. It's going to draw over here. No problem being late because I've been on the struggle bus. The latest update on Cricut doesn't seem to want to make these cards the right way, so it's fine. Okay, so if your slits are slightly off, so some people are saying like they're just too high or whatever, definitely try to make, like I said, the card all the way in, all the way up. And then the only other advice I have, I feel like my Explorer and Maker especially have this issue. It doesn't feed in the right amount. And so on that screen, before I like actually make it, I will like kind of bump the whole card down a little bit on the mat, and then it will cut in the right location. So I do feel like I have that trouble, especially with the Explorer and Maker, that I just feel like it's not feeding in the right amount. And yeah. Okay. I'm looking for other questions. Feel free to like ask any questions. We can make whatever. So do you need glue with these or not? It just depends on the card design. So let's like look at a few designs. So for, let's say this guy, like I didn't glue any of those pieces in place, right? So it looks fine. It drew the words. That's fine. But so I feel like most of them are designed where you don't have to glue the things in place. Let me see if I can find an example. Like most of the designs are like that, where like all the little pieces stay in place, or like this where the font makes the middle of the letters stay in place. So I feel like most of them are like this, but I have like designed my own. So I'm pretty sure this is an example of that. So I was like playing around and designing my own. And in this case, I did not go back and glue in the centers of the letters, but you can still read this card. So could I have saved the centers of the A and the G and glued them back? I absolutely could have, but you can also read it without those being added back in. So it kind of just depends on the look you want to go with, whether you need to save like those centers and add them back in. This is another example. I made that design, and like the B and the R, I just left those centers out. So you can leave them out or you can glue them back in. Something I do like to do, this is an example of that. You can save the pieces it cuts out and make a whole other card. So this example, I don't know, I probably used the card that it cut it out of, but it cut some balloons out. And then I took the balloons that it cut out and I glued them to another card just on the front and made another card with the pieces it cut out. So if you don't want to waste all those little pieces that it does cut out, you can do something like this as well. So that's another idea for like the pieces that it cuts out of the card itself. I'm going to switch to a blade here and let this cut. All right. All right, so I feel like most of the things are like corner slots not in the right location. We're going to see how this one does, and then we'll talk about what I did. So if you want to make cards from scratch, so this is from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. It's the Basil cardstock. It is my favorite. I was going to see if it had a weight on here. It does not. So generally I use the Basil cardstock from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop for just about everything. And I like this weight for my cards as well. So I don't like a super thick cardstock just because like you want it to bend easily. So that's the thing about the Joy Extra and the original Cricut Joy as well, as they don't score. So if you want to make a card from scratch for the Explorer or Maker, you can use the scoring stylus, and you can score where the bend is supposed to be. Makes it much easier to, actually bend the card in the right location. So that is something to consider if you are shopping for a machine just for like cards. Yeah, so the machine I'm using is the Joy Extra, only because it fits really well in this screen, so I could have all of this in the screen for you as I'm working here. The Explorer just doesn't fit as well. But you can do any of the things I'm doing, you can do on the Explorer, the Maker, whatever. I am just using this one just because it fits in the screen well. So the slits do look really good on this one. So I'm going to remove this. So tricky, I feel like, to remove. I usually turn it over and sort of kind of start peeling the mat back. And you just don't want to rip any of like the super small like little details that might be on the card itself. And the cuts look really well. There's a weird little area with the hat, and it sort of tangles up on itself. All right. All right, so then once you get it back from the sticky part, you can see all my cut pieces are basically still there, and then you can slide it out of the mat itself. So for this one, I still have a few cut pieces that are kind of, they're cut. They just are hanging on a little bit. So there's my cut card, and I'm going to use pink as my example. So I had this draw with a metallic marker. I like the metallic markers on the dark cardstock. And this was, I had this laying here, blue metallic marker. So with the dark cardstock, the metallics show up way better than any other colors. So all I'm doing is putting it on the inside here, just putting it through those slits that it cut on all four sides. So this is going to be the difference. This one looks so good. So this one was a Cricut design made for exactly the cards I have. So literally the box says insert cards and R40 on it. And I searched Cricut Design Space and found a card made exactly for the R40 cards. When I did it the other way, it's supposed to resize it, but it did not. So my slits were not in the right place on this one. I made this one off camera, but they were not in this right place when I didn't find exactly the card size I needed. So it could be a fix for now. Hopefully Cricut fixes the issue, because I feel like it should resize it. Like when you say, I am using a different card than you want me to, it offers you that option. It should resize the card to be the right size. And it currently is not, as far as I can tell. All right. What size do you use for the 5x7 envelope? I think this is a 5x7 envelope. Let me make sure. It is. All right, so this is a 5x7 envelope, and there are 40 cards fit in there perfectly. So I'm going to hold it up to the envelope. And this card is 4.75 by 6.6 inches. And that's what I would make for a 5x7 card, 5x7 envelope, sorry. So you always want the card to be obviously a little bit smaller than the envelope. And I feel like that's a good size for a 5x7 envelope. All right. Yeah, so Cheryl is saying that she's been doing all the updates. She's in live and her screen does not look like the new ones still. So I was crafting with Corey George from Hey Let's Make Stuff the other day. And we were both on a video and both had Cricut Design Space up. Both of them we thought were updated, and mine was different than hers. So I do not know what is going on, if they're like rolling out updates and only certain people get them. But it was definitely an issue that we saw the other day with just like 2 different design spaces, even though, yeah. All right, so how do you put custom writing inside of this card? All right, so we have made this cute card. Now let's write on the inside. So we're going to make a message on the inside and write on the inside of the card. So that's something that most of the cards within Cricut Design Space do not have. So you saw the when I pulled up Cricut Design Space and it wasn't there. So let's see how to do that. I'm going to pull up Cricut Design Space back here. All right, so we're going to back out of this. Cancel. All right, so I probably don't need the card anymore. So first of all, I'm going to make a shape, and I am going to make it the size of the card. And I just said the size, but why keeps asking me that I don't want to save? It's fine. All right, so I'm going to unlock this, and I'm going to make it exactly the size of the card. And I'm just using the measurements on the box, on the card box. So 4.75 by 6.6. So now I have exactly the size of the card box, and we'll just make that white so we can see a little better. And so now we know exactly the size. And then I'm going to click text, and I'm going to say, I don't know, what would we say on the inside of a Halloween card? Boo, have an amazing Halloween. And I'm going to say, love the Holdens. All right, so you can add whatever text you would like. And then the next thing we need to do is to pick a font. So I'm going to be drawing this with a pen. So I would like to do a font where it is, let's do filter. Writing. So I'm looking for a writing font. So I'm going to filter all these fonts for writing, and I'm going to pick one that I like. Well, I like that one. That one works. I would recommend a writing font, and then we can kind of play around and resize it to fit where it's going to look good on the card itself. Then I can delete that rectangle I made. I'm going to go ahead and delete. I can just hide this just in case we need it. So now I have the writing. I feel like that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to click make. And I'm going to have a pen. Again, I want to make sure that the right card size is picked over here. So it will look okay here. And I can move it around if it doesn't look centered. That looks fine to me. I'm going to click continue. Again, make sure insert card, make sure you move your wheels, and then go back over here. Okay, and then we are going to put this card back into the card mat, but this time I'm going to fold it backwards where the inside of the card is now going to be on top. So I'm going to put the card in here. And you just need to, since I'm doing this after I cut it, just be careful that none of those cut pieces catch. But it's going to be the inside of my card. The front of my card is inside of the card mat. And again, we're going to push it all the way in, all the way up. And this time, this inside piece of the card, I'm going to stick it down really well to the mat. And then I'm going to use that same color just so it looks good. Same color as I did on the outside. I'm going to drop my pen in here. And then we can load up this mat. And you do want to make sure make sure, I'm going to double check. Make sure that we have the card in the right direction. So this is the top of the card. It's going in first. That is a classic mistake that I would make, would be to put the writing upside down. All right, so I'm loading that up. And then I'm going to hit go. And we're going to let this write on the inside of the card, and then we will take a look at it. All right, so I'm going to scroll through questions here. Any more questions about cards, feel free to ask them below. Thank you, Faith. I'm glad I'm making this look easy, even though at the beginning, Cricut Design Space was not cooperating with me. It's fine. Okay, so Tammy is asking about pop-up cards. I am not an expert at pop-up cards at all. I really like more simple cards, insert cards as an example, or making my own cards that are fairly simple with the Cricut machine. The pop-up cards, not something, like I don't invest that much time in a card, I guess. So not the expert on that. Sorry, Tammy. And then I did want to say, Joanne, I think I forgot to mention, you asked about the machine I'm using versus your machine. If you want to do the same types of things that I'm doing with the Joy Extra with an Explore or Maker Series machine, this is the card mat. So it's like 4 cards at one time. You don't have to do 4 cards at one time. You can just do 1 in the corner. But this is the mat you would need instead of the mat that I'm using over here. So just a little note there. So I feel like a lot of people don't use this hack for writing on the inside, and I absolutely love it, obviously, because I've written on this one as well. Okay, let's get this card out. All right, so now you can see I got my writing, and I can remove the card again. So you do have to run the card through twice if you're going to use this card mat and pre-made cards to get both the inside and the outside. But now I have writing on the inside. I can fold the card back. And so now I have this on the front. And when they open it up, it has the writing on the inside. So that's another like little tip for you, is to add the writing to the inside of your cards as well as the outside. All right. What setting do you use for very intricate cuts? I do have a video on intricate cuts on cardstock, and you can try that with cards as well. And it usually, the washi tape setting I use a lot, honestly. But let me link to that really quickly for you. I think it's Corey. Let me link to that one. You find it here. Cricut, I think. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to link to that. I go through, so intricate. If I can spell intricate today. All right. So I'm going to link to that full video where I walk through intricate cuts and different cut settings and like what effect it has. Yes. Bobby said, I didn't even know these card mat existed. This is by far my favorite way to make cards because it's so simple. I literally have 2 bins of different sizes of these cards so that I could just pull it out, make a card really quickly. You saw this Halloween card. I just made it a couple minutes, even adding the writing on the inside. So you can make cards quickly with this. It comes, already with the cut pieces. The only drawback is when Cricut Design Space is not cooperating and not putting the design in the proper location, and then the whole thing doesn't work. Like the whole process doesn't work. Okay, dark cardstock pen. So for dark cardstock, I highly, highly recommend their metallic pens. This was metallic marker 1.0 blue was what I used for this. But I highly, highly, highly recommend the metallic pens on dark cardstock. That's what I use on dark cardstock every single time. And I personally, Norma, I do not sell any card templates. You can purchase them. So I will say this. So Cricut Access, I have a Cricut Access subscription. Two reasons that I have a Cricut Access subscription. The first is for their sticker maker, and the second is for these insert cards. So those are the only two reasons I like access to easy cards and easy ways to make stickers. So I keep a Cricut Access subscription. So that personally for me is worth the fee. If it's not worth it for you, you can find these templates various places and purchase them. I'm sure you can even find some like on Creative Fabrica if you have a subscription, and upload them to Cricut Design Space. The trick is getting the design the right size to make sure that these slots in the four corners are in exactly the right spot so that this insert fits correctly. Now, have I done hacks? And you can cut the insert. You can use an X-Acto knife to cut those corners a little bit. I have used those hacks before, definitely. But the easiest thing is what just happened. It cut it. I popped the insert in. So I definitely keep Cricut Access just for the card templates, frankly. Oh, I'm so glad that so Nikki said she is ordering the card mat and the cards as well. So just be sure for the card mat that you get the right mat for your machine. And then what I was going to say is that this is the Joy Extra. So the Joy Extra, the Explorer, and the Maker will cut all the sizes of the cards. But if you have the original Cricut Joy, so the small little guy, it cannot cut the larger cards. So the card I just made, actually I have somewhere. Somewhere I have the Cricut Joy card mat. Now I have an absolute mess of cards on my table. I don't know where it went. Okay, well, if I find it in a minute, I will show you that not all cards will fit on that mat. Let's clean up some of this and see if I find it over here. So that mat, the original Cricut Joy, the mat is just a little bit smaller. And so it only takes the smaller cards. Like the bigger cards just won't fit in the machine itself. And I swear, like, oh, here it is. I knew I'd find it. Okay. So this is the mat I've been using, and this is the size of the Explorer and Maker mat as well. So it's this size. This is the original Cricut Joy, and you can see it's just a little bit smaller. So the maximum size that the original Cricut Joy can cut is 4.5 by 6.25 inch card. So it's just a little bit too small for the card that I just made. So for the Halloween card, that would be just a little bit too small. So just FYI, for anyone picking up card mat and cards, don't purchase the wrong thing, because I feel like that can be a problem for people. They think they can do the larger cards when they have just the Joy, and it needs to be just a little bit smaller. The cards just need to be a little bit smaller. But like Bobby said, it's in her cart also. But for the Maker, you don't have a problem. So you get this big guy. You can do 4 cards at a time, and you can do all the sizes that they make. So not a problem with the Maker at all. And then the other thing I was going to say, this R40 card is the maximum that any of these can do. So the Explorer, the Joy, so the Joy Extra, that's the max, and then as well as the Explorer and the Maker. So if you're gonna make your own cards, you don't want to purchase the Cricut cards, that's fine. You just need to make them exactly those sizes, and note that this is the maximum size card. So this card that I just made is the maximum size card that those machines can make, and it is 4.75 by 6.6 inches. And we talked about like that's perfect for like a 5x7 envelope, but it is the maximum that those machines will make. So if you wanted to make like a really huge card, you would need to make it yourself out of like 12 by 12 cardstock or 12 by 24 cardstock or something like that. For these card mats, you're only going to be able to make this size max on those machines. Yeah, so if you have the original Cricut Joy is what this mat will fit. So Corey, if you have the original Cricut Joy, that's what this mat will fit. You have to get like the mat that goes with your machine. So like I'm using the Joy Extra and it needs these extra little pieces on the side to like actually fit into the machine. Yay, I'm like, I did not mean to inspire you all to get into a whole new craft, but make your own holiday cards this year. I feel like as long as you are paying attention to Cricut Design Space and the size card that it says that the design is for and exactly where it's putting it once you hit make, you can get these in the right location. But yeah, I use these like literally all the time. So no, for the Joy, so someone said, can you cut 12 by 12 paper on the Joy Extra? No, you cannot. So 12 by 12 paper would be for the Explore and Maker series or the Venture if you had the Venture. But I don't have it out here, but the Joy Extra is about 8.5 by 12, around there. So it's a 8.5 inch wide paper is what I use on it, 12 inches long. And I just keep 12 by 12 on hand and I cut the side off and then put it on my Joy Extra mat just because I have multiple machines and this is easier to keep on hand. All right. Yeah. The joy of watching lives is just making, when you use Cricut Design Space, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. So Eleanor, you have the large mat. You should use it for your maker. Like, I really think you're going to like it. All right. Betsy said, is there a formula? I'm assuming you're talking about like the size of the insert to the size of the card. Not sure. Let me know what kind of formula you're talking about, Betsy, and I will let you know. All right. Yeah. So Eleanor said, I made a pop-up card one time and it was a job to get it right. I haven't tried making one again. That's why I don't make pop-up cards, I think. So I am not, I'm not a huge paper crafter. And when I do craft with paper, I like simple paper crafts. So these cards are completely up my alley. Love them. Oh, I do. So if you have an Ollie's near you, they bought out the Joann's leftover inventory. And a lot of the stores have really great deals on Cricut stuff, cards included. So like I got these at Ollie's. I got these at Ollie's for $2.99, and there are 42 cards in this set. And there were some smaller sets as well, like these. It was 99 cents at Ollie's. So if you have an Ollie's near you, check out their craft supplies right now. I bought all the cards when I was in there because I love making them and they're a really great deal. So there's a tip for you. Oh, sure. Tips, instructions for making envelopes. I mean, I do have, like, it's in some videos, but we can just kind of find one. So let's just find one here. Let me go to Cricut Design Space. All right. So if, so the cards we've been making come with envelopes. So let's be clear there. But if you were like, I want to make my own cards, I want to make my own envelopes, what I usually do is go over here to images and search envelope. and they usually have several different varieties. And what will happen is, like, if I click one of these, let's click this, for example, and it will be flat here. So I can cut this flat. Now, these are going to be too big for the Joy Extra that I have out here. I would say most of them. So you're going to need like the big machine to make a lot of these envelopes. So envelopes for bigger cards, once you lay them out flat like this, as an example to cut, they're going to be very large. So you're going to need large mats for, like, this version is 8.9 by 12.85. You would need like the 12 by 24 mat for an Explorer or a Maker machine to make these. And of course, like, larger cardstock. So what I'm going to say is, if you want to make your own envelopes, I would be sure that you can actually make them for the cards that you want to make. So if you're like, I want to make my own cards, I want to make my own envelopes, I don't want to buy these Cricut cards, just be sure that you note that these super large envelopes, once you fold them out, it's a very large project. So you would need a larger machine, larger cardstock to actually make the envelopes themselves. I've made envelopes out of just regular cardstock, like I make cards out of. Of course, like, an envelope generally is a little bit of a thinner cardstock. So you might want to look for something a little bit thinner for your envelopes, but the regular cardstock that I generally use to make cards works for envelopes. And I definitely recommend, if you're like, well, the cards, I'm not going to worry about scoring them, I'm just going to fold them myself. Don't do that with envelopes. You need something to score them. I like the scoring stylus. It works fine. I don't feel like investing in the scoring wheel, even if you have a maker, is necessary. Scoring stylus works fine. But just make sure that you use that for these, so you get your folds in the right spot, is just critical for making an envelope. And then, yes, so when you make an envelope, generally, you would glue the pieces. And so it would look like a envelope here that is pre-made, but you would glue the flaps together, and then put your card inside and then seal it up. And I don't know, I need to look and see if I have an envelope I made. Oh, no, Faith, her Ollie's didn't have any Cricut supplies. That's so sad. All right, I have a few other things in here, but let me look and see. I'm going to kind of dig through and see if I have an envelope I made real quick. So Faith asked about my thoughts on the quality of Dollar Tree supplies. So my overall opinion on Dollar Tree craft supplies is that they're not even worth the money. And I found an envelope I made. So, like, my opinion is they're not worth the money you spend on them, even though they're super cheap. So the cardstock, Dollar Tree, sometimes they'll have cardstock. I generally find that it rips as you cut it. It's just not high quality enough for a Cricut craft. And then a lot of the other Cricut supplies they have, I just don't find that they last long enough to even justify spending the money on them. I don't like the vinyl. I don't like I think they have iron on. I don't like it. Just haven't been impressed with the Dollar Tree brand. All right, so this is an envelope I made on my Explorer Maker. And it's not glued, so I can show you. All right, so what I did is I cut out this piece. So my Cricut machine cut this out, and then it put scoring lines all along through there. And then all you would do, I would probably fold these two in, and you can see, like, add some glue or something along these two, and then fold this up. And then once that's stuck, then you would, let's see if I have a card. Yeah, these should fit in there. All right, so then you would take your card and put that inside. And of course, this would be glued at that point, and then you would seal this up. And you could write on here with your Cricut machine, or handwrite the address either way. All right. Okay. Okay, I've never used the insert cards. In addition to the card and the envelope, do the inserts come with it? Yes. So, insert cards. So this package of insert cards comes with, I'm assuming it's going to say, so it comes with envelopes for every card that's included. And then it comes with a variety of colors of cards. So here's the whole stack. So it came with cards, so a variety of cards, and then it comes with a variety of inserts. So the inserts are cut exactly to the size they need to be, and the cards are already pre-made, pre-folded within this package. So this was 30 cards within this one, as an example. And then the only thing I feel like you need to pay attention to the color mixes of these. That's the only thing, some of them I don't like. But on the back, it will say, so it tells me what colors the cards are. So that's these top colors and how many I'm getting of each of those. So I got 10 each of the navy, the pink, and the light blue. And then it tells me these are the colors of the inserts I got and how many I got of them. So I got 10 of the yellow, 10 of the dark pink, and 10 of the tan within this bundle. And then at the bottom, it tells me the envelopes, and I got 30 envelopes. So I have enough to make 30 cards, but I like to mix and match like the colors inside. So just be sure that the colors work for you. Because like you see these colors on the outside and you're like, oh, I'm going to make yellow cards. But it doesn't come with yellow cards. It comes with yellow inserts. So always be sure to look at the back as far as what colors are cards and what colors are inserts, and make sure it's going to work for you. All right. Oh, so Corey said that she's used the Dollar Tree brand of pre-cut cards and envelopes and liked them. I have not, because I gave up on Dollar Tree supplies. So Corey, that is good to know that they have like these pre-cut cards and envelopes and they work well. So that's good to know. Always up for saving money on craft supplies. All right, so I have a few more minutes. Any other questions about making cards? Anything else that I can do within this live that will make making cards more accessible for you? I feel like making cards around the holidays is a great use of your Cricut machine. And the pre-cut cards for me makes it easy. Again, I'm pretty sure I linked in the description below this video. This card I made from scratch, just from cardstock. So you can do that as well. You might, like the Cricut Joy, Original Joy especially, wouldn't make a very big card once you lay it out and cut it. The Joy Extra, you could probably make a pretty good card with that. But so it will depend on the size of your machine, how big of a card you can make from scratch like this, but you can still make the cards from scratch. And this one, I made it with their insert card designs, but not the insert cards that you purchase. I made my own card, my own insert, everything within this card. So you can make your own cards with your Cricut machine. Favorite glue, yay! Okay, so my favorite glue for, I didn't even get it out. My favorite glue for paper, hands down, is the Bearly Arts. Hands down, I would say for envelopes, for cards, for everything, Bearly Arts glue. I just think it works well. It's not that expensive. It lasts a long time. The fine point tips are excellent for getting it precisely where I need it, so I don't use too much. So I would say Bearly Arts is my favorite glue overall. Oh yeah, I did forget about that setting. There is a cardstock intricate cut setting. And Corey said she uses that, I'm assuming, with the Dollar Tree cards. So that could be a way to use those like more inexpensive cards. So I only use the cards for personal use. I have not sold them. You could definitely sell cards, like you can, but I have only used them for personal use. I just make them, like I said, I'll get on a kick and I'll be like, I really want to make some cards, and I will just make cards. Like I will make them for tons of different holidays and birthdays and generic, and I thank you. I just get on a roll and I just start making cards. And then I put them all in a box. And when I need a card, I just look through the cards that I've already made. So that's how I do it. And then if there's not one in here, of course, it's really quick to make one. But I find I just get on a roll. And obviously you can tell this is a friendship one. And that's one thing I'll mention on this. Let's see if I have some. Okay. Let's see if I have some open. Apparently I'm going to open one. So there are, this one's open. Nope, wrong ones. Apparently I'm going to have to open a package. So there are regular insert cards, which is what I showed you. But there are also ones that are, this package is open. There are also ones that say foil transfer. And that's what I did here. So you can see this metallic-y looking text here, and this heart is metallic. So what I did was used the foil cards will come with sheets of foil, and it may be that I need to open a new pack. This is just random pieces. All right, so we're going to open this package. This might be a random pack as well. So the foil transfer cards will come with sheets of foil, and there they are. All right, so the foil transfer cards will come with sheets of foil as well as little adhesive pieces. And you use these super thin sheets of foil over the top of your card, and you'll need another tool with that. So for the Explorer Maker, it looks like this. For the Joy and the Joy Extra, it looks like this. It's a foil transfer tool, and that will sort of draw over the top of these sheets and transfer this foil to your card. So you get this super cool metallic look. So if you see any that say foil transfer insert cards, it has the foil included. And this pack came with 6 silver and 6 gold sheets. When it was new, I probably used tons out of this. So probably not in there now, but that's what the foil transfer cards mean. All right. Yes, so you can, Rebecca asked, can you cut the insert cards yourself? The answer is yes. Couple of things. If you're going to use their designs, you need to cut them the right size. You need to find those sizes, cut them the right size. And then the second thing is depending on the machine you have. So if you have a larger machine, Explorer, Maker, whatever, super easy to cut your own cards, right? It's just a rectangle with a score line. But if you have the Joy or the Joy Extra, first of all, you can't score, so you wouldn't be able to score that line. And then these machines are smaller, so the size of the card, once you lay it out, you're going to be restricted on the size of the card you can cut. So history lesson. So the card mats came out with the Cricut Joy because the original Cricut Joy is so small that you really couldn't make a card. It would have to be like a super, super small card if you were to cut the card with your Cricut machine. So they developed the original card mat just for the Cricut Joy so that people could enjoy their card making even though they had purchased the super small Cricut Joy machine. And then the people with an Explorer Maker were like, I really like those cards. I want to make them for myself. So that's why they came out with the card mat for the other machines. It's because people liked these cards so much and how easy they are to make. So they're not, I feel like people think that this is the only way to make cards now. It's not. You can make them. I made this one just with cardstock and my Cricut Explorer or Maker machine. I don't know which one I used. So you can just cut your own cards with those machines because they're large enough to do that. But if you want to make your life even easier and you want your cards even easier to make, I still use obviously, because I have 2 bins worth of these cards and boxes. I buy the pre-made cards just to make my life a little easier and use the card mat, even if I'm using one of the larger machines, to just cut a quick, super quick card. I just feel like it makes it a lot easier. Do you have to use these card mats and these pre-made cards? You do not. You can do these same, you could make the same card that I just made. You could make this exact same card with just cardstock. Not a problem at all. It's just that it makes it a little bit easier. The steps are a little bit easier. The process is a little bit easier. Makes your life a little bit easier. It's like when you need that super quick card and you're walking out the door to a birthday party and you forgot to purchase a card. You don't have one in your stash. This makes it super easy to grab a card, slide it on here, pick a design, cut it really quickly, and get out the door. All right. Yes, if you do the foil transfer at all, so with the foil sheets, you do need the foil transfer tool. And it's different. There's an Explorer and Maker version, and then there's one for the Joy and Joy Extra, so 2 different tools. And yes, so when you're using your Explorer or Maker, you'll use this big card mat here. And yes, you can make 4 different cards, 4 of the same cards, 2 of the same on the top, 2 different on the bottom, 2 of the same here, 2 of the same here. You can mix and match across here. I have done it. I have mixed and matched card sizes. So different card sizes on each one. You just have to be, then you have to be even more careful about the card size that you choose in Cricut Design Space, making sure it's appearing right on Cricut Design Space on the back, making sure it looks right before you cut. So you have to be even more careful. To me, I get a little confused when I'm doing 4, especially I'm doing 4 different card sizes. I'm like, which one is in which location? So just being extra careful if you are using this to do like 4 different cards, especially different sizes. But I have done it before. Definitely have done it. But yeah, you can do all 4 different designs for the same design, however you want to do it. All right, so any questions that I missed about Cricut cards? I'm going to wrap it up here. So any questions that I missed, if I missed your question, feel free to ask it again. If you have more questions, feel free to ask those. If you missed the live, feel free to ask questions in the comment section below, and I will get to those as soon as I can and answer your questions about making cards with your Cricut machine. Is there a new card Joy machine? No. So let me walk through one more time. So there are several Cricut machines on the market. There is the original Cricut Joy, which is super small, little aqua machine. It's back there somewhere. And it takes this size card mat. It says Cricut Joy at the top. This machine that I have beside me is the Cricut Joy Extra. It is fairly new. And it takes this card mat. Again, it says Cricut Joy Extra at the top. You need this extra area on the sides for this machine. And then if you have any Cricut Explorer, any Cricut Maker, you would use this card mat. And it just says Cricut at the top, but this is for the Explorer Maker. And as far as I know, if you have the Cricut Venture, there's not a big, huge card mat for that. As far as I know, You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a huge card mat for that one. So that is current Cricut machines and the card mat you would use for each of those. Thank you, Beverly. She's watching me on her TV. It makes me so nervous to be on TV. All right. If you have any more questions about making cards, like make some cards for the holidays, make a cute Halloween card. I mean, in a few minutes, I tend to make birthday cards especially, but if you want to make your own holiday cards and you have a Cricut machine, get started. Go ahead and start making your holiday cards. It's going to be here before you know it. You are going to need to start sending those holiday cards. So start making those holiday cards now. Oh boy. Okay, so Pamela said when she's trying to cut with a card with her joy, it says low memory. My guess, and I'm not saying that error. My guess is that it would be low memory on the computer you're using to operate your Cricut. And I just say that because the Cricut doesn't have a memory. So there's no memory on the machine itself. So my guess is it's the machine you're using to send the design to your Cricut. Whether that is a computer, a phone, a tablet, my guess would be it is whatever you're using to send the design to your Cricut. Patty's question above. Oh, I see it. Yes. So the foil tools, I don't know where I sat them, but I did have them out, right? Okay, so the foil tools, don't know what I did with them. We'll just talk about them. Oh, nope, that's the cutting blade. Okay, the foil tools, there are two different ones. Here they are. Okay, so if you're going to do foiling, you want to use the foil, you want to use the foil on any of your card designs, you will need a foil tool. And the foil tools, there are two different ones, and they're two different sizes. You can see I have a little guy here and a big guy. So the larger one is for Explore, Maker, Venture machines. The smaller one is for your Cricut Joy or Cricut Joy Extra. So yes, Patty, if you purchased a foil tool and it just said Cricut Joy, it works in the Cricut Joy Extra. Absolutely. So hopefully that clears that up. All right, so yes, Pamela, she said she's using an iPad and getting a low memory message. Most likely it is for your iPad itself. So it basically doesn't have enough memory left for sending it. So I would try deleting some photos, deleting some apps, deleting some videos, that type of thing, freeing up some space on the iPad, and then seeing if that error goes away. I feel like that's going to be what it is. All right. So thank you all that joined me for the live. It's always fun. It's very hard to do a live and talk to yourself and not have any questions. So thank you all for joining me. So we made a upside down card. So we made a card and I used the insert cards for my example. And I also showed you in this live how to write inside of a card. So if you've never done that before and you missed it, be sure to watch the replay. I feel like that's something that a lot of people miss is customizing the inside of your card as well as the outside. So I hope, oh yes, we can talk about that real quick before I wrap it up. All right, so the Cricut Joy and Joy Extra foil tool, it's just a foiling tool. You put it in the machine, it foils. The Cricut Explore and Maker foil tool, however, it comes with, when you buy the tool, it comes with 3 different tips. So it's like a 1, 2, and a 3. So there's 1 ring, 2 rings, and 3 rings, I think. Yes. So it is basically like 1 ring is the finest, 2 is medium, and 3 is like a bold foiling. So I have the best luck out of the bolder lines. So I usually choose a 2 or a 3. The 3 was already in the tool, so that indicates that I use that a lot. So I generally use the bolder ones just because I have a better luck with the foil actually transferring. So I tend to use the 2 or the 3, if that helps. So the medium or the bold foiling tips is what I tend to use. Like I said, I find it works better. And I will say, I'm going to say right now, I'm just going to say it. The foiling, Cricut foil sheets, Cricut foiling tools works best on Cricut cardstock. Hands down, every single time. So I generally use this on the Cricut brand of cards because it just works better. I get a better foiling result. Like that's foil on that one. I just get a better result, lasts longer, doesn't rub off on the Cricut cardstock. So I will at this point only use the foil on the Cricut cardstock. I just found I was wasting material trying it on other brands and things. So, all right. Oh, and Betsy, are you joining us all the way from Alaska? I guess so. So yes, you can definitely purchase everything I used today at Michael's. So even though you just have a Michael's, you can definitely make use of Cricut cards. All right, so I am going to wrap this up. If you have any more questions when I'm not live, feel free to ask those. You can also always message me on social. Happy to answer any questions that you have. So y'all, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you. I'm doing these live videos once a month on like different topics. So also in the comments, you can tell me what other topic you would like me to cover during a live. Happy to do that. So happy to answer your questions about anything you're confused about. I feel like I almost need to really dive into Cricut Design Space in this new update and do a live just for me. So I'll learn the new update. So might do that in the future. All right, and this will be on YouTube. It's recorded. There'll be a replay. You can watch it as many times as you would like. So feel free to watch the replay if you missed any of it. So thank y'all, and I'll see you in next month for another fun live video.